If you find something that's working, don't fix it. So a lot of times with marketing, I'll see, oh, you know what? That's crushing. And I want to try to make it better. It's like if something's working, leave it alone and do something different. If something's working, ride the momentum till it dies, because you might break it. When you're trying to fix something, you might break it. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Brian Driscoll, and today we're going to talk about marketing. So I know marketing is a big thing in this space. A lot of people talk about it. There's so many different ways. So I'm not necessarily going to teach you or show you how to do anything, but I'm going to more ask you some questions and give you some things that you can think about in terms of how you can do in your business, right? A little background on me for those of you that don't know me. I got into real estate in 1998. I got into it. I remember I was sitting in I think it was like a DoubleTree, one of the hotels in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the seminar rooms. Ron LeGrand was presenting, and he had his pitch in the back of the room. It was $1,800. He was actually selling these right here. If you're watching on YouTube, I still have it. It was here. It's got the CDs and all kinds of letter addendum. It's got all this stuff in there, right? So what it was is there was three of them. There's a red one, blue one, and a green one. So they're selling these in the back of the room. It's like, hey, you know what? All you need to do, it's $1,800. Walk to the back of the room, sign up. We're going to handle everything for you. So I did that. I bought the course, studied it, and I went out, and the thing to do back then was put newspaper ads. So I put some ads in a newspaper, said, we buy houses, put my phone number. I got a bunch of phone calls. I started meeting the people. I didn't know what to do with them. So long story short, I failed. I learned a lot, but I did not get a deal. This is back in 98. So I got back into real estate probably around like 2005, which I failed again, which I'll tell you in a little bit. I'm in Pittsburgh. I was doing real estate in Florida. So I'll get back to that. But here's the things I want to talk about today. We're marketing for people that want to sell their house. And I see this a lot. A lot of investors are like, oh yeah, we got to get deals. We got to get properties. We got to buy deep, things like that. And from the marketing side, and what I'm looking at is there's a couple different ways to look at things. Number one, we can look at sellers as, hey, it's just a number. I want to market. I want to get the cheapest cost per lead, and I want to have great KPIs, which everyone wants to have great KPIs. When we're looking at it, though, there's different ways to look at things. So we can just say, hey, sell your house fast. We buy houses. We pay cash. Things like that. Very general. And people are going to click it. There's nothing behind it. What I like to think about, though, is who are we trying to buy houses from, and what are they dealing with? So start thinking about, okay, who do we want to connect with? What are they experiencing? What are they feeling? Where are they hanging out? What are they looking at? And kind of working backwards. So for example, say a family, they're going into pre-foreclosure. The dad is most likely dealing with some sort of financial stress. He probably also feels like crap because the family's losing their house. And there's probably a lot of emotions going on there. So it's like, okay, if we're targeting someone like that and we want to help them out, let's target our messaging that's a little bit more empathetic to them, right? Or someone going through a divorce is totally different. Like they're dealing with totally different things versus someone that's got a hoarder house. Like they just can't afford to fix stuff maybe, or they don't want to get rid of stuff. So it's like, first thing I would urge people, it's like, think about who you're trying to reach. What are their problems? And then reverse that back on whatever marketing you're doing. And we're going to talk about all the different channels. There's so many different ways to market. So depending on the medium and the channel you're using is going to depend on what you do, right? Which brings up my next point. Make sure you have multiple marketing channels. I never recommend just having one marketing channel. And I'm going to talk here. If you're just starting out, some of this stuff might be over your head. I'm going to talk to more of the seasoned guys here. If you're just starting out, what I recommend for you just to get it going is go out and hustle. Go download Deal Machine or PropStream. Go drive for dollars and go hustle. Don't get held up with all the shiny stuff. You know what I mean? Go out and make money, focus, and then come back to it. Don't worry about like logos, websites. I see a lot of new guys. They're like, oh yeah, I want to get into this. I got to go get my logo made. It's like, no, you need to go find people that want to sell their house and go and wholesale that and make some money and then invest in marketing. That's all I want to talk about on the new stuff though. So, but like if you're doing like a deal a month or something, that's what I want to talk about here. So first, we want to have multiple marketing channels. Think about a chair. Like you don't want to have a one-legged chair or a two-legged chair. The more legs you have on a chair, the more stable it is. Same in your business. At the time of recording this is like August 2024. Facebook might be crushing it right now, but we have elections in elections in Black Friday coming up towards the end of the year. Costs may get too expensive. So here are the different channels that I see investors doing. We have direct mail, right? We have pay per lead. That's what we do. We offer pay per lead. And if you do need pay per lead services, go to motivatedleads.com and book a call. Tell whoever you're talking with that you saw that we do pay per lead on this podcast, and they'll give you $300 credit when you sign up. So we have direct mail, pay per lead. We have all the digital channels if you want to run them under your own brand, like Facebook, Google pay per click, SEO, TikTok, YouTube. All those you can advertise on channels like Hulu. You have email, like you can email people, buy a list and email. You can text through somewhere like Launch Control. You can send SMS text, like buy a list of people in pre-foreclosure and shoot text messages out. You want to check the legal guidelines there to make sure you're compliant. You can either drive for dollars. If you're doing a deal per month or more, most likely you're not going to be doing that, but you can pay people to do that. Go out and find you deals, but really just driving around the neighborhood, looking at beat up houses and trying to look them up. Hang door hangers on there. Referrals, networking. And I'm just going through this list because some things will resonate with you and maybe someone else. So you're going to want to find out what works with your culture and like what you believe, right? So like referrals and networking. If you like dealing with people and you like that, go network with a bunch of agents. Agents have cash deals because they have people come to them that want to sell their house and their house is a piece of crap and they don't want to list it on the MLS. So they'll refer them to you, right? You can advertise on the TV, radio, even things like church bulletins and bandit signs. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. My point here is, though, think about what you want to do, what kind of budget you have, and then pick a couple channels if you can, if budget allows. I will give a disclaimer here, whatever you want to call it. If you only have like $1,000, pick one. Don't split that up. So you want to kind of tap it out. You want to give the channel enough momentum to succeed for you also. So when I say you want multiple channels, that's once you're spending some money. If you're just starting to market, pick one, give it 6 months, give it enough budget, see if it works, then take the profits and add something else on, right? Now, here's a reason I say you got to give it time too. Say you're sending mailers. Sometimes you may send a mailer now. Like I've heard this from a lot of our clients. They do mail also. And a lot of the guys are like, hey, I sent a mailer out like a year ago and they just hit me up. So, and some of them are like, I quit doing mail after 4 or 5 months. It didn't look profitable. And it turns out it was a really profitable source. So they kind of cut the lifeline, right? All right. So we're done with the marketing. We know, pick some channels, whatever you want. If you need pay per lead, we can help you out with that. If you need other stuff, let us know. Cause I know most of the people that can help in the different marketing spaces. All right. Next thing in your business, you're going to want to think, who's going to deliver on your promise? Like when you're starting a business, right? Who's going to deliver? You're telling Johnny that you're going to help him with his house. Who's doing it? You need to start thinking, okay, who's your team? In the beginning, it's going to be you. And then you want to start putting people on your team that can replicate you, including your core values and things like that. So it's like, first you got to sweat. Like you got to go drive for dollars. You got to do all the deals yourself. Then you can start marketing and spending money to not pay with sweat for marketing, but you still have to do the deals until you can replace yourself. If I'm in your shoes, I'm looking at, okay, what do I hate doing in the business? And let me start trying to outsource that part and replicate myself. Side note, you can go online, Carrot, and I think Dan Martell, they have something called an energy audit. That's something interesting you can do too. While you're determining that too, basically you take a Google sheet or piece of paper and draw a line right down the center. In the left side, put things that take away your energy. On the right side, put things that give you energy. And then just for like a week, jot down every single thing you do. And the stuff you don't like doing, put in the left. Stuff you do like doing, put in the right. And then hire someone to do the stuff you don't like doing, right? So we got our team. It's either you or somebody else. That's just something to think about. It's like, I'm not telling you what to do, just giving you some things to think about. The next thing I see with investors, the things they need to start thinking about is, what are your dispos? So disposition methods. So how are you going to solve their problem? You told Johnny you're going to get rid of his house. How are you going to do it? With our clients, the guys that have more methods to dispo a house are more successful. Reason is, back to what we were talking earlier, we're solving problems. So everyone's not the same. Some people you can wholesale their house. Some people you might need to novate. Some people are cool with sub 2. Some people need flipped. Some people need to list on the MLS. So that's one thing you're going to want to think about. So here are a couple dispos, and I would recommend, we'll talk about these for a sec. So we have wholesaler. You can wholesale a deal. You can flip it. You can buy and hold. You can do novations. You can do sub 2 or something creative, or you can list on the MLS. So whenever you're talking with a seller from one of these marketing channels, it's like, okay, what did the marketing channel promise? Like, what did your ad say? Let me try to deliver on that. And then how can I get rid of the house for you and make a profit? So these are things also, do you want to do it yourself? Or do you want to maybe partner up with someone? Like, for example, do you want to be an agent and list the property, or do you want to partner up with an agent? Things like that. Or do you want to flip the property? You might be a wholesaler and you can find a deal and partner up with a flipper. You don't have to put up 50 or 100 grand cash to flip the property. So there's some things there also. Think creatively, you know what I mean? Because it's a shame to like lose a deal that could have been won and help the person by just not having the dispo, right? And then the thing is, you want to make sure, do you have a process that you can make sure that you deliver? So in your first deals, like the guys I was talking about in the beginning that are just getting into this, partner up with someone or get with somebody that knows what they're doing, because there are processes and it's not complex, but get with somebody that can show you, okay, who's the title company you use? What do you do? Like if you're in Pittsburgh, we're going to use PV Settlement. Anyone who's doing investing, I know, send them to PV, because Ryan Fisher over there knows how to invest and deals with investors all the time and will make it easy. Something like that could make or break a deal, just going with a different title company that's not familiar with wholesaling or whatever, right? So come up with a process after the lead comes in on how you're going to get with the person and deliver. In process, I'm talking from start to finish. Like a lead comes in from Facebook or Google on your website, you need to have a process to get a hold of them within 2 minutes, the whole way to meeting them, the whole way to have a credibility packet when you go out to meet them, make yourself look credible, get it under contract, dispo it, the whole way to closing, right? Just something to think about. Do you have that buttoned up? If you don't, it's worth looking at, right? Another thing I see here though too, which I'm fault of this also, is if you find something that's working, don't fix it. So a lot of times with marketing, I'll see, oh, you know what? That's crushing. And I want to try to make it better. It's like if something's working, leave it alone and do something different. Like, for example, like on Google pay-per-click or Facebook. It's like if you have a campaign doing really well, don't go in there and tweak it. Like let it run until it starts donking out. You know what I mean? So in anything, I find that a lot, especially with being an investor. Like our nature is to constantly keep trying to make things better. So it's like you got to practice discipline there. And if something's working, ride the momentum till it dies, because you might break it. When you're trying to fix something, you might break it, right? Another thing I see, especially in the real estate space, it's probably in all the spaces, is don't drink the Kool-Aid. So like when you're riding the wave, focus on what you're doing. There's all kinds of people trying to sell you sexy stuff. Hey, partner up with me, take my class, do this, do that, which is cool. I like doing things like that. I learn, but don't drink the Kool-Aid. Like you got to think objectively and take a step back and be like, okay, is this good for my business or is it an emotional type of thing? You know, anyone selling a course in the back of the room is emotional. So think about it. Let me know if that makes sense for you. Next up, be careful who you partner with. So I was talking about at the beginning of this episode how I failed originally when I was 18 and then back when I was in 2005 when I was probably like 24 years old, 25 years old, something like that. So what happened here is, number one, I learned from my prior mistake and why it didn't work. And then I partnered up with one of my buddies. He was the same age as me in Pittsburgh, and he wasn't the mistake, but he partnered up with someone that I got pulled in with. So what we were doing, I think I'll have to look at the dates, but I think it was right whenever pre-construction real estate in Florida was heavy. It was really popular. So what we were doing is we were marketing for pre-construction real estate in Florida. They were building all these condos, selling them in phase one. People were supposed to make a whole bunch of money. We were doing the marketing for it, and then I got involved with the sales side of it also. And there was this guy in Florida who was handling the brokerage. And he's like, yeah, I got these properties. I got us in on phase one. We can sell these. People will make money. They're going to sell them in phase 3 or 4, make a bunch of money. Turns out it was a total scam. Like the guy we partnered up with was just, he was just a scammer. And I didn't think any better. Some dude in Florida tells me, hey, I'm a brokerage. We're doing this. It had all the documentation, everything. He was a legit real estate broker. Point is, be careful who you partner with. A lot of these things, especially in real estate, you can do things on your own. You don't need a whole bunch of people to do things for you. It sounds easy and it sounds sexy saying, hey, let's partner up and do this kind of stuff. I see it a lot in the real estate space, but go read a book, put your nose down to the grindstone and just do some work. I find that works best, because then you figure it out too, and you're not relying on other people. A lot of times I found when I partner with somebody too, is maybe what I thought they could do isn't what they actually do. Maybe I just, in my head, thought they could do something different. So either way, yeah, partners are cool too. If you have a partner, great. But I'm just saying in this case too, because I'm kind of running you through everything of what I would be thinking or what I do think in business. just be careful who you partner with, right? All right, so back to marketing. So what we want to do here is next we want to make sure we're tracking our KPIs. So we want to make sure our processes are dialed in. Then we want to track KPIs. So whatever channels you have, you want to look at certain things. You want to look at cost per lead. You want to look at cost per appointment. You want to look at appointments that don't show up. You want to look at how many offers you make, how many contracts you get signed, and how many you close. And you want to track these things. And a lot of guys get held up on cost per lead. Cost per lead, I mean, it's an important KPI to look at, but it doesn't really matter. What you really want to be doing is looking at cost per deal for the channel. And then the reason I like looking at all these KPIs, think about it on like a line graph or like a timeline type of graph. If you look on the left-hand side and you see how many leads you got, say you got 100 leads and you got 60 appointments. It's like, okay, the lead quality is pretty good. My process is pretty decent. But say you got 100 leads and you only get 20 appointments. It's like, you can now tell, okay, between generating the lead in the appointment stage, there's an issue. So it gives you kind of like a diagnosis where you can look in your funnel to see where an issue is. So say, for example, we're getting 60, 70% leads booking appointments. That's good. We don't need to look there. If we're getting 20% booking, we need to address, maybe it's a lead quality, maybe it's our lead manager. I don't know what it would be. You'd have to look there. The only two reasons people fail, I find, is either the leads suck or your process sucks, right? So next thing I'd look at is, okay, we got 60% of the people booking appointments, but we're having a high cancellation rate. We need to look there. One thing is very important for real estate investors. Make sure to book that appointment within 24 hours. So lead comes in, you call it immediately. Get out there today or tomorrow. Don't book the appointment 3 days out. If the appointment's booked more than 24 hours in the future, your rate for cancellations is going to skyrocket. So try to get out there as fast as possible. If you're too busy, pull back on your marketing spend or hire another acquisitions guy. You don't want to push them out that far, because while you're pushing them out, say it's Tuesday and you're pushing the appointment till Friday, there's another guy, they filled out their form also, who's meeting them same day. By Friday, they're canceling on you. The reason I'm bringing this up is you can see, it's like, okay, if you have appointments and 80% of them aren't showing, say maybe 50% show, then you can start looking between that area. It's like, okay, I got these many appointments, but they're not showing up. How can I fix that? Or say you got say they all show up, 80% show up, but you're not getting any contracts. It's like, okay, you can look between there. Do I have a salesperson problem? Are we just not giving offers? Things like that. And same with contract to close. You can look at, we got a bunch of contracts out, but none close. Are we giving bad prices? Like, are we over promising? Things like that. So I do have a Google sheet with all these KPIs that will calculate it up for you. If you want it, just shoot an email to info@motivated-leads.com. I'll send it out to you. All you got to do is duplicate it and you can plug your numbers in. The KPIs are really important to track in the marketing side. So you want to track them the whole way through. Back to what I was originally talking about though, cost per lead is not the KPI to look at. It's the top level, but SMS is going to get you a really cheap cost per lead, but it might take you 100 leads to get a deal versus pay per lead might take you 10 leads and you get one deal. So you're going to want to look at the cost per deal, work that backwards, and then also include your sweat. Like how much effort do you need to put in here, right? You can also dive into, which I'm not going to get into here, first touch and last touch attribution, basically finding out like where they came from. If you guys are interested in hearing about that, shoot me an email or or put a comment on YouTube, something like that. And I can go into that on a separate episode. It's first touch, last touch attribution. You can just Google it. I just wanted to talk about some marketing and like different things that I see in the space and kind of walk through the top level things. As I said, if you guys have any recommendations on things that you want to hear, better yet, email info@motivated-leads.com with whatever it is and put in the subject podcast idea. And then I'll take those into consideration and maybe make a podcast on them. But anyways, hope this was helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And again, get out there, crush it, close some deals, and have some fun. We'll see you guys.